All right, that's another good show.
Yeah, Rex, what do you think?
So,
Thanks for jumping in there, Dave.
I liked how you mentioned, Dave. I could so identify with this in
Yeah.
a slightly different color. When you mentioned when you had, I remember having kids 0, 2, 4, and 6, and thinking, "Am I ever going to sleep?" I can tell you, I vividly remember,
gosh.
"Am I ever going to stop changing diapers?"
Oh, yeah. Oh,
It was like 10 years of nonstop diapers.
I could only imagine.
yeah. So many diapers. I remember we had this little, I think
Yes.
we burned the last diaper or something. It was this big we burned. And this little ceremony. Yeah, this is the last diaper that we'll ever have.
Hooray!
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yes, I bet.
A lot of diapers, hundreds and thousands.
Oh,
I remember ordering like 8 or 10 boxes of newborn diapers for the second kid because I'm like, we're ready this time. We're
Yeah.
ready.
And then going through like 3 in 2 minutes.
oh my goodness.
And then they grow out of them, right?
Yeah, I can imagine. Beth, do you think how did this program come to be? Was it from the Love Lab? Was it from Gottman's work with a variety of couples?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. So he really kind of early on built this love lab at the University of Washington and started to notice some differences between couples. And so that was just the couple stuff, right? Who are the masters of relationship? Who are the disasters, he calls them.
Right.
And so much of the focus at that point was around like what couples were doing wrong. And he decided to flip the script a bit and say, well, what if we could teach people what couples are doing right?
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of his work around relationships came. And then it just kind of late 90s flowed into, okay, people are having children.
Yeah.
That seems to be a really big change. Let's start a pilot study around that and see what we can learn there. And so we've got the masters and disasters from that research as well.
Nice. I didn't realize that. Some couples, some parents who just naturally know how to do this easily, huh?
Yeah, and it's not even so much how to parent easily, but it's how to get along with each other, how to work with each other. And it's interesting because the definitions of masters and disasters, the definition of a master of a relationship would be something like couples who mostly are getting along, right? Who are relatively satisfied.
Yeah.
And it's a super low bar, right? Like I wake up in the morning, most of the time I'm glad you're there. That's it. You can kind of build from that. It's not like couples who are absolutely wonderful all of the time. It's just, do we have the raw materials to work this out? And some couples have it right away and some need to be taught.
Got it. And the adjustment. I can't even imagine the adjustment. I don't have children. That's why, as a marriage therapist, I'm so grateful that Gottman has such a program that I can turn couples to.
Yeah.
And I love the idea, Dave, but what a great gift. We talk about pre-marriage therapy, right? When our adult children are getting married, but what about this also as they're getting ready for this next stage of life, having their first baby?
Right.
Brilliant idea.
I liked, you said something, and I do kind of remember going through that transition of being a son or a daughter or brother or sister to I'm the dad, or, she's the mom. When I say mom, I mean her. And now dad's grandpa and mom is grandma.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, who is Mrs. Schramm, right, Dave? Or who is Mrs.
It's a shift.
Right.
It is a weird shift, but you just kind of have to grab that bull by the horns and ride it.
Yep. Right, you're dad now.
Especially when they get older and they start challenging you.
Do your kids challenge you, right?
I think that's I am dad.
Right.
That's a whole other podcast, right? Yeah.
I do have a question, Beth. This was something I think we all talked about a little while ago. Do you have advice, or you may have even covered this, do you have advice for couples who the struggle of raising a child that needs a lot more attention or special care, and how that might affect the relationship?
Yeah. Having a child who has other health needs, psychological needs, I mean, that's a really common thing, and it's more stressful for couples. And I think the big thing around that is you have to be even more intentional about your relationship, and you have less time to do it. It's everything is more, and you still need to have a little time with your partner, talk about what you want for the future. You still need to do all of those things, and it's just harder to do. So the intentionality, I think, is a big piece there.
Yeah, I would imagine that's got to be a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the being mindful thing definitely something that stuck out with me, and I've heard Dave say a lot, and something I do try to practice a lot is just being in the present, being in the moment, not trying to think about other things, but just being there for my child or for my wife at the moment.
Yeah, and the tricky thing is that that's how kids are all the time, right? Like, we're always thinking about, I need to make dinner or thaw that out, or, did that phone call happen? And kids don't ever do that. They're like literally in the moment all the time. So it's actually this very nice gift to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to join you in the moment and not think about the other stuff, and just like look at this bug that we're following down the sidewalk.
You're a great teacher.
What was the catalyst for your passion to get into this?
Ooh, good question. I've always worked with kids on some level. I started out back before I had my own kids. I was a preschool teacher and then an administrator. And then I decided I wanted to work with adults too. I went to school for teaching, for education. And so the fastest way I could do that was becoming a childbirth educator. So I kind of got in that way and started teaching all kinds of things to expectant parents. And then this was just kind of a natural next step for me. And Dr. Gottman was doing the research with our group of people at our medical center, at Swedish Medical Center. And so I knew about this program from the ground up. And I knew that once they were done with the pilot program and they started training folks to do this, I wanted to do that. And I think I was part of the second cohort in 2005 to go ahead and take this. And it's
wonderful.
Yeah. It's just so important. Like, when I took the class as a student learning how to teach, I just walked away thinking everyone should have to do this. Everyone should have to have these conversations with their partner and plan this stuff out and figure out how they're going to handle conflict, because it's going to come up. And this is so great. So and I just took it from there. And my life is new parents and their kids.
So it was an illuminating moment.
Definitely.
Do you have any success stories or anything where you're just like, I don't know, moments where you're just like, oh man, this is awesome, that worked?
Well, so many of them.
Okay.
When I'm specifically when I'm specifically teaching bringing baby home, I don't know. I think it's a general thing, but I think it's very important. When I'm teaching and we're in the same room, if it's actually in person, and we're starting to share and starting to work things out, or starting to do some of the couple activities for the parents. And then I start to notice them physically getting closer together. And I'll see it online too. They get closer together on the couch or, at the kitchen table. And the more we talk about this stuff, like an arm goes around the other one, or they're holding hands, or they're looking at each other lovingly. And you can just see it happen in the first hour of this workshop. It's amazing.
Nice. That's nice. You're giving them that space and place, to do just that.
Right.
And I know your focus is really early babies. You mentioned how sometimes the baby's in the bassinet in the same room for a bit. And then do you have a time where you encourage that baby to go to his or her own room? I hear this problem quite a bit. A child's in the bed.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like aside from bring baby home research.
Yeah, please, right?
Yeah. So here's my spiel on that. Independent sleep is a very American value. And that's not a value judgment. It's an observation, right? So there are a lot of cultures in the world where co-sleeping or family sleeping, everyone's together on the mat, all like for years and years and years. And totally like appropriate and expected, and there aren't sleep issues. And in the US, we really value independence. It's something that we want for our children. It's just one of our values. And so I think like it's up to every family what they're going to do. And my general advice is if everybody sleeps better when you're together, feel free to stay together. If everybody sleeps better when you're apart, do that, because the important thing is getting sleep. So if what you're doing is making it really difficult for you to sleep, that's something to consider. I mean, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends close proximity for the first 6 months, and that can look different ways, but it's got to work for the family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Mom may say yes and dad may say no, right?
Oh,
That's one of those tricky times.
Absolutely.
That's often what I see more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Is it, do the no's have it then? I mean, sleep kind of trumps? What would you say, Beth?
I mean, I think it does. Or we're going to make a temporary, like we're going to figure out something for the next month to see what works. And if that is, we don't all sleep in the same room, like you sleep downstairs, maybe that's what we need to do for everyone to get sleep and not be angry and move things along. And let's keep this an open discussion, because right now, maybe I feel like I want the baby to be in our room and close by. And I might not feel that way in a few months, or I might be able to understand where you're coming from more next month and be more willing to, kind of compromise. So
yeah, great advice.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well, Beth, you've been very generous with your time. We appreciate you coming on and agreeing and sharing so much good stuff. There's a lot that's packed in that episode. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. Hey, do us a favor and take a few minutes to subscribe to our podcast and the Utah Marriage Commission YouTube channel, where you can watch this and every episode of the show. When you hit the like button and leave a comment, your feedback helps us improve the show. And don't forget to share this episode with a friend. You can also follow and connect with us on Instagram at Stronger Marriage Life and on Facebook at Stronger Marriage. Be sure to share with us what topics you want us to explore or what you loved about today's episode. If you want even more resources to improve your relationship connection, visit our website at strongermarriage.org, where you'll find free workshops, webinars, relationship surveys, and more. Each episode of Stronger Marriage Connection is hosted and sponsored by the Utah Marriage Commission at Utah State University. And finally, a big thanks to our producers Rex Polanis and Alexis Alcott and the team at Utah State University. And you, our audience. You make this show possible. The opinions, findings, conclusions, and recommendations expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the Utah Marriage Commission